Well, hello everyone, and welcome to a Derp Your Hooves quick tutorial. So we have a HOTAS Orion 2 from WINWING, and it's a Chinese company that makes this collective, and it's basically a throttle base with a collective top, so you have to kind of order it, and they have a whole kit where they'll just send you both halves, and you have to put it together, so be careful. I'm not going to show you how to put it together, but today I'm going to show you just quickly the software that you need for it, and then, in Microsoft Flight Simulator 2020, how to assign some keys to it. So let's start with, you're going to need something, and right here on my desktop I have SimApp Pro. So you're going to need SimApp Pro, and you're going to say, well, Pony, where do I get SimApp Pro? Well, luckily for you, I'm going to include the link in my video description. Here's how you get it from the WinWing SimApp Pro. The www.simstore.com is their place to get it. You get the SimApp Pro for Windows. You click that, and you download it. And then it, gives you an installer package, and you unzip the installer package, and I'm not going to give you a tutorial video on how to do that. So, what we're going to do here is we're just going to go ahead and show you that we would double-click SimApp Pro, but we already have it open. Well, I think we already have it open, right? Don't we? No, we don't. So, we'll open it. That's my bad. And that's just, my Norton doing things. And so here we go. So you can test it, and it's got your little test thing, and it's got all your, you can assign buttons here on here. I'm not going to do that. So you can also do firmware updates. I already have the latest firmware update. So what we're going to do is you can go ahead and calibrate your afterburner position, your x-axis, your y-axis, your z-axis. You just have to click the button and then use each axis. So I'm not actually going to show you how to calibrate it. I'm just going to say that you would click this. Now for afterburner, obviously if you're using it for helicopters, you don't have an afterburner position. You have your x and your y, and you might have a z for the twist axis. So if I go ahead and I just go to calibration, or I go to test, it'll show me right here. See, there's my twist. So I have it calibrated to where it works. And if I pull up on it, it's going to go up and it's going to go down. So mine is calibrated. And I mean, I could just say, well, what is this? Well, this right here, obviously, as it's going up and down, is the RX and the RY axis. Right? And this here is right there. It's your z-axis. So you need your x, y, and your z-axis. And I have mine calibrated. You can see it on the chart on the top. When I go all the way up and I go all the way down, I have it very well calibrated. So we're not going to mess up my calibration. But you need to install this, and you need to download it. So that's the app. Now, yes, I want to close it. So let's just go back to their store, and I'll just show you really quick here. So you go to WinWing, and they have your download center, and you have to find basically what you bought. Now, for example, we have the HOTAS Orion 2. So we would need to find that here, and we would need to download it. So I have the handle grip. I don't have the F16. I have the T2 Orion throttle base, so I had to download that. Well, these are your manuals. But you can go here to your firmware and basically download your firmware to update it. This is pretty much a plug-and-play thing. If you buy it right out of the box, mine already came with it. I upgraded the firmware. It took a long time and followed the directions exactly. But it said it was already up to date. So that's where you'd get that. But let's go ahead and let's just go open the sim. Okay, so here we are, and we've launched our sim, and you're saying I have my collective right here, and I really want to get it going and calibrate it. So, I mean, it's got all these nifty switches and buttons. So what am I going to do? So you're going to go to your options right here, and you're going to find control options, and you're going to look for it. So obviously it's not my keyboard because this is key binding stuff. It's obviously not my mouse or my flight rudder pedals. It's not my Rhino stick. It's not my touch pointer. So what is it? It's your WINWING Orion throttle base 2. Now mine showed up automatically, so it gives you a little question mark for the icon, but that doesn't mean that it's not here. It just means that it doesn't have an image for it. It's right here. Trust me, it's right here. So now I have mine set up to filter assigned right now. I'm just going to show you this because I've assigned things. So these are the things that you want to assign. Just basic. I mean, I have this thing set up basic. I could assign all the bells and whistles and buttons and switches, and I will at some point. So what we're going to do is we're just going to do this. We're going to go here, and you see I have camera settings. That's optional if you want to do it. It says engine instruments. I have flight control surfaces, and I have power management, and those two are very important to me. So what I have is I have collective access assigned, and you can see as I move the collective up and down, it's telling you right there the collective access is working. So if you wanted to add, say, a key binding to it, let's just say you wanted to add a key binding to it. I'm going to show you how to do that in a second. Okay, but these are going to be important. Your right axis, okay, where it says joystick right axis, you want your collective axis. And I also have my trimming surfaces on here. Now, this is also important that I set my trim up. And I set my trim up, you can see right here on my hat switch. So these are the ones that you want to go ahead and set up. You want to set up, this is the POV switch, and you want POV up to be increase rotor longitudinal trim, and you want decrease rotor longitudinal trim, I can't talk, sorry, to be down. So up, down, and then rotor lateral trim is going to be to your right, and decrease rotor lateral trim is going to be to your left. Now, the reason I'm not going to show you how to do these exact settings here is because I've noticed that with this collective, because it's not a throttle, that it creates problems when you unassign and assign buttons and then you try and fly it in the sim. You actually have to restart the sim after you've assigned your buttons sometimes. I don't know why, but if you have any problems and you're going, it's just not working and I'm pulling up on the collective and the helicopter is not going up, it's going down, and then after you've assigned all of your features, save your changes, restart the sim, and it will save them. I don't know why. I just know that I had that problem. I'm sharing it with you, so in case you have that problem, you're not going to like freak out and say, this is junk, I'm sending it back. It's not junk. This is a really good collective for the price. So that's what I basically have set up. I have very important settings are your trim, obviously your collective access. Now here's the interesting thing. So I set this part up before Sim Update 12, and I had watched other tutorial videos on other collectives, and this works in the the gimbal. I call it the gumball. So you see my twist axis works, and it's your axis Z. But you know what I mean? I don't want to reset these key bindings. So I'm going to show you how to do another key binding. All right, but what you want to do is you want to take note of at least this. Control trimming surfaces is important, and you might want to set it up like this. You might want to take a screenshot of the video or write this down. Very important. I have mine set up to my hat switch. The reason I have this is because, now, don't get all freaked out when you're like, oh, Pony doesn't show his face. No, Pony does not show his face. But let me go ahead and give you the stick. Ta-da! Oh, there I am. See? Hi, it's Pony. So I have my stick, and on my stick I also have a trim hat, or a hat switch, just like this one. It looks exactly the same as that one, but it's on here. And I have an X56, and it's a great stick for flying aircraft. It's a great stick for flying helicopters. The trim works on other things, but when it comes to the helicopters and Microsoft Flight Simulator 2020, I prefer to use this trim on my collective, so I have mine set up to that. I recommend you do it. It just seems more reliable than this. I don't know why. It just is. So, without any more babbling, what we're going to do here is we're going to go ahead and assign a button to this. Now, you might be saying, oh, but I'm missing information here. Well, I'm just going to click this window closed for a minute, and I will show you. But let's go to lighting, and I'm going to show you how to set up some lighting. Okay, real quick. So, lights. Now, under lights, I have exterior lights set up. So, what I could do, okay, for example, is I know it says assigned. I can just go to new, and I can go to all, and this is where you would type in, you know, like power for power lights, or throttle for your throttle access, and you'll see that you know, all these things are here to where you can do it that way. Or you can just say, instead of searching for an input, you can just go to all, and you can just scroll, and until you find what you're looking for. That's one way to do it, and that's just two ways to look for your settings. And there's a lot of stuff to scroll through. Like, for example, I have my cockpit external view mode. I have it set to button 14. Button 14 for me toggles me in and out of the helicopter. You see, I have VR cockpit focus, VR cockpit, you know, reset. I mean, I have all these things. Toggle drone. You could set all this stuff up. I have it set up, again, just very basic so I can use it. I don't like assigning all this extra stuff. So, like, for example, we have our collective access, right? Remember, you'd have to type that in. And that would be important. So you'd actually have to assign something to the collective access. But what we're going to do is we're going to search by name. I'm just going to go into lights. Okay, so let's look for lights. So we have taxi lights, and we have landing lights, right? So let's look for something else. How about set recognition lights? Well, I don't have set recognition lights set up yet. I don't have beacon lights, and I don't have nav lights. I don't have landing light left. I don't have beacon lights left. Set panel lights, pedestal lights on, glare seed lights on, toggle lights. Well, toggle wing lights, toggle recognition lights, toggle logo lights. Let's go for recognition lights. Do we have a toggle recognition lights? So that's what we're going to do. Toggle recognition lights. So we're going to pick a button. And this is how you assign any of these key bindings. It's the same procedure for any of it. So if you're going to, you know, set your collective access, this is the same way you do it. You find something in the list, and you say, that's what I want to do, and I want to toggle my recognition lights. So now I have to pick a button. So how am I going to do this? What I want to actually toggle, let's say I want to toggle this. This is going to be my recognition lights button. This one. Right here. Actually, I can't see that. So I'm going to make it this one. Right here. So I'm going to go ahead and go toggle recognition lights, and I'm going to click it. And that brings me up this window, and I'm going to click, just watch, start scanning. Now I click start scanning, okay, and then I push the button. So this is joystick button 80. Okay, awesome, it works there. Action type on press. You can decide on how you want it on press. On release, I want it on press. Okay, so I'm just going to say okay on press. That works for me. Validate. Now it should be here, right? Well, it should be here, but it didn't keep. Why didn't it do it? Oh, did I hit cancel instead of validate? So start scanning, push it, and validate. I must have hit cancel. That's what I did. So if you hit cancel, that's what's going to happen. Now I push it, and it says button 80. So let's go ahead and let's hop in the sim and let's do it at night. But hey, before we do that, there's one last step that you have to do. You have to hit apply and save once you have all your settings in. Hit apply and save, otherwise it ain't gonna work. So I hit apply and save, and then I hit go back, and so it's gonna be saved. And now we can go ahead and launch the sim. Okay, so we launched the sim, and I chose the MD500. I love this frickin' helicopter. So we want to be able to toggle our recognition lights, and we already know that this is the button we're going to be using, right? You might say, well, what are the recognition lights? I mean, we already have, no, we have our position lights on. Those are the lights on the end of the skid. And we have our landing lights on. And again, I've assigned other buttons to landing lights. I mean, I have lights assigned for stuff. But we set the key binding for toggle recognition lights, so let's do that. So watch this. So I did all that, and now I push this button, and there's our recognition lights, and they're on. So there you go. I mean, I know it's like a rush job, but again, I don't want to go ahead and mess up my my settings, because I know that's what it's going to do. It's already done it to me before, you know. But there you go. I mean, that's pretty much it. And you can see I have my landing lights set up to here. And, well, I mean, I have other things on my other collective. Or not my collective, but my cyclic. So there you go. I mean, my recognition lights are on. And I can tell because I can see the blinking. And then I can see the blinking there. And if I push this button here, there we go. Now, unfortunately, you may have seen the twist throttle was set for propeller, and that's down here. Actually, it's actually right here. You have to use the mouse still, because the propeller binding is what works. And we don't have, I don't know why it didn't work in Sim Update 12, and that was actually just me trying to do this to get a better view. So I don't know why that is. But I mean, there you go. I mean, we set a key binding, and it has a function, and I turned it off, and now I turned it back on. And there it is, and my recognition lights are on, and, you know, I can go ahead and I can take off, and I can say, I hope that this tutorial has been helpful for someone, because flying helicopters with a collective in Microsoft Flight Simulator 2020 is so much more fun than just using a regular old throttle. Even the X56 throttle, which is amazing, but it really helps to actually have a collective because it gives you more fine control. So don't forget, you want to calibrate it, and you need those programs to calibrate it. They're in my description. Download them and install them from the WinWing website. You don't really have to worry about your firmware updates. They're already there. But if you want to update your firmware, read the owner's manual, download the PDF. Everything you need is on their website to get this thing going for Microsoft Flight Simulator 2020. So there we go, everybody. And we're flying. We're flying with an actual collective. Look at that. So I always want to say to you, thank you for watching Derp Your Hooves. And I look forward to seeing you guys in the skies.